I'm Harold Kipchumba. I received the news about my being nominated to the National Assembly Parliament last evening through a friend calling. A friend called me at about 9:42 because I looked at it particularly, that there's a gazette notice that has inserted me to replace Honorable John Mbadi, who left the National Assembly for the cabinet. As usual, you know, you be very careful, knowing that in the current age and time, there are so many fake news. And therefore, you receive the first call and say, oh, thank you. And then you receive through two others until you get from the right person. And the right person that I got from was my lawyer. This is because last year, after Honorable John Mbadi was appointed to the cabinet secretary, as a cabinet secretary, I knew that following the list that was submitted by ODM to IEBC prior to 2022 elections, I was next on the list because in ODM, we got 3 slots from the results of the elections. And therefore, number 1, number 2, number 3 were already in Parliament. And when Honorable Mbadi left, it was automatically that I would be the next one. But because IEBC was not in place, I thought of going to court, which I did, to seek the court's order to the CEO to possibly gazette me. From my own thinking, I knew that the election was done in 2022, and the list that was gazetted from ODM was like already an election result. So any other thing after that was to be an administrative role or responsibility. But the court found it otherwise and said there is only one person, and that's the chair and the commissioners who can gazette. And therefore that ruling was done on 18th this month, about a week ago. And so as the new IEBC was coming into office, I was expecting this, despite the many challenges of petition, people who were otherwise interested to the same seat, because that's exactly what happened to me in 2013. In 2013, I was in the list for the Senate for ODM, and I was number 2. There was the late Honorable Senator Godliver Omondi, who was number 1 as a lady, and I was number 2. So during gazettement, I was gazetted, and I was sworn in as a senator. But there was a challenge, a petition that went through the court process, and my nomination was nullified in September 2013. And so I left, and the late Honorable Senator Godliver took over. And so I know
what was the issue?
the ruling then was that IEBC failed in gazetting the right person, because according to to the law, the list for nomination goes in priority. So number 1, and then number 2, 3, 4. And because I was number 2, number 1 had been bypassed because the number 1 on the other side, on the Jubilee side again, was a lady, and so, no, a gentleman by Ben Jeroge. So there was that problem. So the court decided that the next time you just follow the priority list. And so from that ruling of 2013, I knew that I would be the next after Honorable John Mbadi. Definitely, this is a political process, and in politics, everything is possible. Everything is possible, even at this point, that even when it's very clear that this is what the law says, somebody will always want to challenge that. And therefore, as I went to court even in 2024, after Honorable Mbadi joined the cabinet, I was preempting. I was trying, because having been beaten once, I was being careful. And Waswahili wanasema aliumwa na nyoka akiona kamba atadhani nyingine, ama nyati, hata ng'ombe mweusi utamtisha. Na kwa hivyo so that's when I decided to go to court. To date, up to now, I just wish that, I'm glad, first of all, that my party still insisted through the organs of the party, even when the issue of nomination has been raised, that they will stick to the law. That once the list that was gazetted by IEBC in the general election of 2022 remains, and that's what the law says, it remains for the next 5 years. So unless the next person, because the law says that the next person of the same gender. So if a male has left, and because this is a zebra, male, female, you jump to the next male. And if it was a female, you'd go to the next female. And so my party, through its own programs, were able to stick to the rule that let the law take its course. And so I'm glad also that the party has not interfered with this list. I have not made any move to try and challenge my gazettement this time. And so I'm happy that I'm a member of ODM. Yeah, it all takes the leadership of a party also to stick to the rule of law. And I think I want also to just not only thank the party, but thank the party leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, for believing in inclusion, that ODM belongs to all Kenyans, and that ODM would always go for the best of the people they have. And he also put his foot down all the time that we cannot run the party on basis of any other thing, tribe, region, and that, other than the character, loyalty, and the interest of the nation. And so I'm glad that my party leader is in the front line, seeing to it that persons with disabilities are included, are part of the representation in the National Assembly and the Senate. I think that's why you can also see, even from the Senate, the member that represents persons with disabilities from ODM, Senator Asige, is a great character. And I think that's what some of us will take to the National Assembly. not only that we represent persons with disabilities, but we can represent the spirit of this nation. And that's my vision, that at this particular time, I may be that link that has been missing to bring hope to this country and the National Assembly. About being ODM, I think I'm among the founder members, and I'm a life member, an active life member of ODM. And one thing that I have stuck because of what ODM stands for. ODM stands for democracy, social justice. ODM stands for inclusive society. It stands for devolution. We believe in decisions that are made at the grassroots. I'm a believer of decentralized system of governance. And therefore, not only am I in ODM because of what it stands for, but because I think I am one of the few Kalenjins that are just ODM. It doesn't matter, even if anybody wants to say anything, if they have to pick some ODM people in the Great Rift Valley, I would not miss in the top 2 or 3. And so I stick because I believe in it. And I believe in what our leader also envisions this party to be. Yeah. You see, ODM again is that party. When some of us were forming it, we were forming it on the basis of human rights defense. We believed, and we still believe, that people can live together. And if there's any challenge among society and communities, it can always be resolved. Nothing can never be resolved under the sun. And therefore, I think my being also in this party at this particular time is also a time to appeal that these talks about the different generations is important. It's not only important but urgent. We can do anything, we can do everything. This country is like a train. Once it derails, all of us will be gone. So why don't we just quarrel? Let us talk, but let's keep the train on the track. And so we want to hold this country together with our different opinions, different perspectives, different actions. We want to address our issues. And not only talking, it's important also to share that I would want to be part of the people that bring real change. That when the government decides to do something or says they will do something, they do it. And especially in this time that there is a lot of hostility, we don't need to go so far. We can hold it, we can talk about it, and so that 2027 will come and find us alive. I was born now 60, I was born now 1964. That's 61 years ago in a place called Mberepkuruk. Mberepkuruk is in the lower Kabartonjo ward, now Kelio, and born from a family, a polygamous family. I'm the only child that was infected by polio. At the age of 4 years, I contracted polio, and therefore I was born like that child that needs to be taken care of. So went to school late also because there were no special schools until I was taken to a special school in Kisumu called Nyabondo. There was a home called Nyabondo Home for Crippled Children. And that's where I stayed in that home as I went to Nyabondo Primary School and back. I later managed to do my CPE, and I did the first attempt. I didn't do very well because my teacher, and I want to thank teachers, my teacher then wanted me to go to either Alliance or Lenana, but I didn't make it. I had 27 points and it wasn't right, so I was asked to repeat. And so after I repeat, I went to Duke of York, that is Lenana School, for both O-level and A-level. And after Lenana, I did accounts, CPA. Things happened in between, I didn't go straight. I think that's where my interest in the politics, it derailed my academic path. And through those challenges, I was able to be one of the difficult citizens then to the regime. And so I was part of the agitators of multi-party and recognition of human rights. I'm among the, then is when we also founded in 80s, I'm among the founder members of the United Disabled Persons of Kenya, which is an advocacy organization that speaks on behalf of people with disabilities. And so through that, we were able to just rise up. I worked with the Ministry of Education for some time as an accounts clerk, and then left. I went and did a degree in development studies in Kimage Center for Social Development, the campus in Arusha. After that, I came back, joined the NGO world, and joined the human rights defenders, and particularly people with disabilities, and got into serious politics. And so the campaign trail all along, 92, 97, 2002 I stood for Baringo North parliamentary seat on Ford people. And everybody did not think I was a serious guy. And I think I want to encourage Gen Zs, I think I was a Gen Z by then, that just jump into it, make a difference from the game. And so then after that, I was part of the team in the drafting constitution processes. I was one of the civic educators, 207, 205, 207, 20, 209, 2010, when the new constitution was promulgated. I'm glad I was part of it, and our input was also recognized. And so this is me. In 2013, I tried to be a member of County Assembly of Simon Kipsaraman Ward, with the thinking of what the county assemblies were supposed to do, and I thought it needed at least people with some post-secondary education. But unfortunately, the ground was doing something else, and they picked the best of them, the people they had then. And therefore, when the constitution came, it gave us room for some of us, like people with disabilities, who would be looked at as from the prejudice and stereotype thinking that we are not good for nothing anyway. And so that's why every time we would like to have the best to represent persons with disability. And I'm glad at this point to say that ODM has stood that, because the first member of parliament to represent persons with disabilities was Honorable Isaac Mwaura. And in terms of academic achievement, character, representation, he was unique. One, he was the first person with albinism to be in office in parliament. And that goes all along to the achievements of ODM. They go and pick the best. They're very unique, they're untouched. In 2017, they went for Denid Agati, and they went for Sosion. Imagine, ODM would always go beyond the tribal mathematics, because ODM is perceived to be predominantly Luo Luya. Let me tell you, there are many others who are not Luos nor Luyas, who are diehards in ODM. And this can be confirmed by the number of people votes that Honorable Raila gets or even got. If you only add Luos, and you'll not get the 6 million. So there are about 4 million other Kenyans who are neither Luo or Luyas, who are ODM. And so Sosion was picked by ODM. In 2022, the mathematics didn't work, because it has been a policy of ODM that in the priority list, they would always start with a person with disability. But in 2022, it didn't go that way. So I was 4th, but still 2nd in the male. And so there's always a person with disability, not only with disability, but with the competence, with the ability, with the network, with the vision, with the character that this country would love to have. After I lost the nomination slot in 2013, I couldn't just disappear, because by then there was a scourge of polio in the country. I had taken upon myself to join the First Lady, Honorable Margaret Kenyatta, who had initiated the Beyond Zero campaign, and which was targeting majorly mothers and children. I picked polio, having been a victim, and decided I would wish as a leader, and this I did before I was thrown out of Senate, that I would offer myself as the face of polio. That polio is not just about a disease, it's about people affected, the pain, the hurting. And so I took that opportunity to run with the campaign against polio in Kenya. And within a year, 2 years, I was able to mobilize 47 other persons who are polio survivors or other vaccine-related diseases like measles. So some blind people joined me as champions. So I formed a team of soldiers to fight polio in this country. And through that team, supported by WHO and UNICEF and the Ministry of Health, and other partners, including Rotary International, we were able to reduce the scourge. In fact, we were just eradicating it, and then we were able to increase the coverage of vaccine through even the routine immunization nationally. And then I was, with the team that I was with, I was awarded the UN Person of the Year 2015 by the United Nations Office in Kenya. And so I ran with that. As I go into this parliament, I'm going again just as a champion and as an ambassador of immunization. I'll be in the forefront, hopefully to incite and energize the ground and the team and parliament also to prioritize immunization, because prevention is very key in health. If you want to achieve the universal health care, we must deal with preventive health care. For prevention is better than cure. As I go into this, I want to rally persons and organizations of persons with disabilities in this country to be recognized once again, to rise up, because I think there's been a lull of late, that there are things that have overshadowed them. For example, when you look at this empowerment program going on, it's great. My question is, where are the persons with disabilities in it? I want to be that person that awakens the spirit of inclusion and mainstreaming of disability. My going to Parliament this time is to oversight organization, institutions, government agencies, and possibly audit their performance on mainstreaming disability. I would ask a question: how many persons with disabilities have been appointed in executive positions? Let's look at the present cabinet. We do not have a person with disability. In the principal secretaries, I'm not seeing one. We used to have Josephta Mukobe. Let's look at the parastatal appointments. Let's look at the commissions. Years ago, every commission had a person with disability. I remember the National Land Commission had Professor Samuel Torore. I remember the National Commission on Equality, okay, gender and equality. I had somebody Mute. We had commissioners in the commissions. We need them. We want CEOs. If you line up the managing directors in this country, can we pick a person with disability? Not on basis of disability, but on basis of inclusion and affirmative action. If we pull together all the CEOs of the commissions, can we have even one person with disability? That's what agenda I would like to go to lobby, to just persuade the House and persuade the country that there are people that are gems, but they are hidden in fractures and frames. They might not look what they are, but their character and their competence and their ability to perform is just super. I want to go out there and be an agent of those people. And I'll call upon them and organizations to come. I will be a representative of the special interest, not of a particular people, because disability cuts across every sector. Thank you.